Hello and welcome to the Cosmic Heart Podcast. I am your host, Jessica Hope with Cosmic Heart TV. Today I have Deana Bonelli. She is an evidential medium, animal communicator, and an energy healer who works with people navigating grief, seeking communication with their animals, and looking to heal the root of recurring patterns, limiting beliefs, emotional and energetic blocks. Her practice also includes the Akashic Records and Arcturian healing methods. Arcturian healing is multidimensional. Using frequency and energy, it targets the subtle bodies to address physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual imbalances at their root. These methods activate DNA and support cellular regeneration, release stored trauma, reprogram limiting beliefs, and support spiritual growth, often reaching what other healing modalities don't. At the heart of it, her heart is about helping people reconnect with themselves in a deeper way, whether that's through a message from a loved one in spirit, understanding what their animals are communicating, or working with multidimensional methods like Arcturian healing. The intention is always the same: to bring people back into alignment with who they truly are. When energy shifts at the root level, people often find things in their lives begin to move in ways that they hadn't been able to access before. Please welcome Deana Bonelli. I'm laughing kind of in my soul, like in a humorous way, just because it's always funny to me how I don't know the reason why I call people in exactly. I kind of get an essence, but I'm like, oh, she does, I do these things too. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like the more I'm going down the list, I'm like, okay, this makes sense.
Yes. It works out how it's supposed to. And thank you for that beautiful introduction. And your protection prayer was beautiful.
Thank you. It's just all about, calling in the right
Mhm.
energies. I really, really want to open up the floor for you to be able to share your journey in what brought you into
Mhm.
your healing work, and also your connection with the Arcturians and your understanding of what all these things are, because I actually have personal experience with the Arcturians as
Mhm.
well and connection to them. And I feel like you are actually here today to also help me heal that connection. And I'll
I
explain
love
why
that.
later.
I love that. Um, so again, my name is Deanna. Hello. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm gonna touch briefly on the journey that got me to this point. Um, So it actually all started with mediumship development, and that was in 2023. After having my son in 2021, my father passed shortly after, and I was having all kinds of experiences. And um, when I look back at that, I realize, my, I'll say my psychic gifts or mediumship gifts were coming to the forefront and trying to get
Yeah,
my attention.
that's really common for when a loved one passes.
Yeah. So the transformation that comes with um, motherhood and then also losing someone close to you is just a portal of transformation. And
Absolutely.
the experience I was having were really having an effect on my life. I was having anxiety and experiences that I felt like I was going crazy for a little while. And I then found a mentor and I took her workshop. It was for 3 days. And I said, I have nothing to lose here. Let me try to see if something is here.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's fine. It's a learning experience. But then I realized I was capable and was able to communicate with those on the other side. So I mentored with her for about 6 months. So in that journey of developing my mediumship um, came personal development, but what it taught me is that I'm in control of my own energy field. And that really helped with the anxious feelings, being around large crowds, um, tuning into energies that I didn't know I was picking up on before. So learning mediumship also came with psychic development, and I was finally able to use those tools in my daily life so that
Yeah.
it wasn't affecting me as much. And through mediumship development, I accidentally discovered I could communicate with animals as well. They started coming into my mediumship readings, and I'll never forget, I was practicing with other developing mediums, and I said, I think there's a dog here that's wanting to talk to you, and I'm describing the dog. And she's like, oh, no, that's my dog in the background. And I'm like, no, no, because I thought it was a
The
dog in
spirit.
spirit.
Yeah.
And he's telling me things and going through his daily life. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go with it because clearly it's coming up for a reason. Um, so
I've
that
done this
then,
also during
yes,
readings.
that sometimes happens to people. So I started working on developing that as well. And
It's kind
um,
of cool though when it's like your dog or somebody close to you that has a
yeah,
dog or an animal because you can like directly communicate with them. I think some people
yes,
think that we're kind of weird or crazy because we're like, they don't understand you. And I'm like, oh no, they do.
right, right, yes. I I overheard a conversation one time. It was two older women, and she says, "Oh, I think my dog knows what I'm saying." And I'm trying, like, chuckling to myself. I'm like, "Oh, they know. They know more than they let on." And I'm grateful because I've always been connected to animals and felt that deep connection with them. And I felt always that I could understand their wants and needs. And that just solidified it. And that then led me to the next stage, which was wanting to incorporate energy healing or Reiki into my animal communication sessions. I was really being called to incorporate that, because sometimes animals and their pet parents will come to me with a behavioral issue or something that's coming up or just old age, and I'm like, energy healing would really benefit them. So I got Reiki certified, and
Good.
that opened up mediumship and psychic development even more. I was really going through this rapid transformation. It was like one after the other, and I
Usually,
like
yeah.
couldn't catch a break. But now looking back, I realized that they were all stepping stones. Um, because after I was Reiki certified, I was then led to the Akashic Records. And that is where
Those are big steps.
yes, that opened up um, my belief system because once you enter the records, you realize that everything that you know is only a fraction of what's actually out there.
Oh, yeah.
So I got really familiar with um, the angelics, light beings, and galactics as I was working in the Akashic records more
A lot of
often.
your steps are very similar. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
I had a feeling because um, looking back on it all, I realized that they were preparing me so that they could communicate with me because animal communication is technically telepathic.
Yeah, it is.
So they needed me to learn those skills, and then understand how energy works so that they could, fast forward to now, work with me in a different modality of energy healing.
Because their mode of communication is telepathy and energetic and through consciousness.
Yes. So it all snowballed, but I learned a lot.
When
And
you,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, when you first got connected with them, when was that and how did that come about, if you don't mind sharing?
Sure. So it's been about a year now that I've been communicating with them. At
I'm
first,
hearing consciously that that's when you realized that you were.
yes, That is. It was through the Akashic Records because I was still familiarizing myself with these energies, because I wasn't really searching for information on um, the galactics or light beings. I didn't have a lot of knowledge, but as they sort of started presenting themselves to me, I then went and researched the information that was coming through to me from the records. So then I would go research, and I'm like, oh, that's what that was. So the Arcturians started stepping forward. Um, and in the beginning, they didn't really present themselves in a physical form. It was mostly energetic and telepathic communication. Um, they allowed me some time to get acclimated to their energy and just sort of develop a relationship with them before they started coming into my healing sessions and then teaching me different techniques.
So when you say at first they were coming to you in light form and then in physical,
Mm,
you are you okay with sharing like what
yeah.
those kind of experiences were and how it evolved and what that looked like for you?
Yeah. So um, at first I was more familiar with angelics, archangels.
Yeah,
So the energy felt very similar to me. It felt different but the same. And
it's because
uh,
they're on the similar frequency
correct.
and dimensional. They're
Yeah.
from this a similar dimensional
So I
plane.
knew I was connecting and communicating with higher dimensional beings. Um, so once I got familiar with their, I'll say, energetic frequency, then they gave me more information. They would sometimes give me a physical form, and I was able to differentiate,
Like in your mind's eye, you mean?
in my mind's eye, yes. So I
Okay.
don't see anything physically in front of me. It's all in my mind's eye, um, or through my other psychic senses, feeling them, the telepathic communication, or
And I
sometimes
that's how I
they'll just,
perceived them too
yeah,
and
or they'll just
perceive everything.
drop information like into my head. So once they started showing me more physicality, again, I went and did research and tried to match up what I was seeing.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, and you're able to, oh, okay, so these are the Arcturians, or oh, these are the Syrians, these are the Lyrans.
And a lot of them are hybrids.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a lot
so
of hybrids, just like with humans. There's a lot,
absolutely.
there's millions and millions and millions of hybrids. So there's like Arcturian Syrian,
Yeah,
Arcturian
hmm
Osiris, Arcturian Pleiadian. I mean, there's all kinds of hybrids.
all kinds, yes. But when I asked, I always ask, who am I working with? Who are you? I'm like, show yourselves. I don't like to just trust anybody coming into my
Good for
field.
you.
I always protect myself in that way because I don't want to open myself up to,
Just anything.
yeah, just anything. So they were
Good.
very
I'm proud of you
patient
for
with
that.
me. Thank you. They were very patient with me and they let me go at my own pace.
Good.
So at first, I realized they were, um, I guess I'll say, projecting my consciousness up to their ships and showing me sort of what, um, who was there, what they were here for, how they wanted to work with me, and a little bit of I'll say the technologies that they use for their healing. Now, when I say technology, it can be different than what we perceive as technology. When I say technology to other people, they're like, "Oh, your iPhone," or "Oh, your computer." Um, it's a little bit different.
Can I ask you,
Yeah.
when you were projecting your consciousness onto the ships, what what do you recall and remember from specifics that you saw on their ships? Because
Yeah.
there's obviously there's different beings with different ships, but specifically their ships. What do you recall? And have you had dreams of being there?
I started having dreams after that experience. And what I can remember from that instance where they showed me, I remember very clearly seeing what I would perceive as like a table. This
Metal?
Yes, so it would look like an operating room table if I were
Right.
to compare it to something here.
Sterile.
It did. It looked very much like that, but there was an element of softness. I don't mean that. Yes, it's a metal table. I could
It's
tell
not
it
our
was
kind of metal.
yeah. It's not like it doesn't feel like the bright lights of what we would see in an operating room. Everything was sort of, I'll say, what's the word I want to use? I could tell energetically that it wasn't a cold place to be. It felt very comfortable to be there. I felt their energy and they felt welcoming. It didn't feel
I'm
like,
getting
and
memories while you're talking about this.
yeah, that's just my experience because I have Um, I went to school to be an operating room technician. So I was the assistant passing things. And when I think of our operating rooms, they're very white, sterile. It feels cold in there. It feels very like calculated. This felt, even though it was metal and things were sterile, it just felt warmer
Safe.
energetically. Yeah.
Also, they're very well adept to working with the human form, and they know
Hmm.
how
Yeah.
to, they can see inside. So, and their
Right.
procedures also are like so much more advanced and evolved that it's not even like physically cutting into
Correct.
or doing all these things when they do surgery and stuff like that.
Correct.
Thank you very much for sharing all of this. And so as I said, I'm working through some old wounds and apprehension and stuff while we're
Hmm.
talking about this. So I'm also getting getting memories that are coming back to me that I had previously
Okay.
deleted, essentially detached from and kind of deleted out because of time frames that a lot of these things happened and timelines.
Yeah.
Have you? Okay, so let me go back.
Hmm.
When they show you how they do healing, what kind of imagery have you seen?
At the very beginning, I saw geometric shapes, and for a while, I was questioning, what do these shapes mean? And a lot of people who experience the Arcturian say the same thing. They find the geometric shapes, but um, what they show me visually, um, I'll say in the beginning, they showed me how to open up what I like to call like a quantum container to facilitate the healing. And
Yeah.
they shared with me that this is so, they said it's recalibrating the frequency so that it's an energetic match to perform the healing. Um,
Okay,
and
so
then,
like,
yeah.
sorry. So what is that? This is going to be also for me, but also for people who are
Mhm.
watching. What does that look like to you, and what is the purpose of it?
Um, so a lot of it was with geometric shapes, but because their healing takes place in the subtle body, it's not, yes, the effects ripple out to the physical body, but we're working with the etheric body, the emotional body, mental body, the different layers of your auric field. They need to. I say like open up quantum containers, but this is essentially um, creating the field in which the healing will take place versus Reiki. You can have your hands on the person's body. So this is all done via um, clairvoyance for me. I'm watching them. Um, like for them, it's they're using that metal table, but for me, it's almost like suspended in um,
It's through consciousness.
without yeah in consciousness. And then they'll walk me through sort of, I'll say like an energy scan. They do use chakras and meridians as reference points, but their healing actually takes place on a cellular level. Um, so it does ripple out into past, present, parallel, and future timelines.
Yeah, it does. And that's something important. So there's a couple things important for people to
Mm,
understand. One, when these healings are done, it it happens through time and space. So
yes,
the physicality will heal, the physical body will heal
right.
through time and space. It's going to heal in the past, it's going to heal in the current moment, it's going to heal in the
Yes.
future. And some people, when they receive a healing from you,
Mm,
right, they
yes.
don't understand that they're not going to instantaneously always experience those results. Sometimes it's going to happen naturally in its own time because
Correct.
there are so many different factors that play into everything
Yes.
that we don't get to determine all the time, like, oh, this just absolutely has to be right this second. I mean, if
Right.
you do the healing on yourself and you're manifesting it and you're creating it
Mm,
into your reality and you are quantum shifting yourself into a new timeline where you're already healed, that's a totally different situation.
yeah.
But when you are receiving a healing from someone
Hmm.
else as a conduit who's calling in other higher level beings or presences to come in and do that healing on you, it's going to take the amount of time that it's going to take in
Yeah.
a totally different realm of reality of time. They don't exist in our time. They
Right.
exist outside of time. So to them, they don't really care, about your opinion of what time it takes to heal. They've already done the work and they've done it on so many levels that you don't even know little you is being healed while big you is being healed while old you is
Yes.
being healed.
Exactly. And very often the inner child does step forward. They do facilitate inner child healing a lot because a lot of the energetic imprints do come from childhood. But they're also bringing in past lives of people as well. They've taught me how to do soul fragment retrieval. They've taught me how to do psychic surgery, which is energetic surgery. It's not like on the physical body.
But it
Um,
does ripple out into the physical.
yes.
I healed my ex-husband's heart. I mean, I've done all kinds of psychic
Wow.
surgeries.
Beautiful.
Did he deserve it? That's up to God. But I did it anyway out of love.
Yeah.
So there was one more piece I'm being reminded of before we get ahead of it.
Hmm.
The other thing I was gonna say is for people to understand is there's something important that I'm being called for you to share actually.
Hmm.
So for a potential client
Yes.
who hears this, sees this, whatever, and is like, okay, I need this, I need help.
Hmm.
What does that look like for you when you sit down with someone and you call them in, and how does this look? So for someone who might be scared or apprehensive
Hmm.
of like, oh, I don't know if this is safe for me or what's going
Yeah.
on, can you help them understand that this process is all love and this is
Mm.
this is something that is a divine experience, just like, if not exactly like, but similar to if you were going to get a healing from an angelic healing,
Hmm.
same kind of unconditional universal love in this kind of space. What does it look like for someone who's like apprehensive, how would
Mhm.
you run them through a session?
So, let's say a client came to me and there's specific issues that they feel like they want to address. So this healing typically works for people who have done the deep inner healing work, but still feel like something is holding them back. Um, Whereas Reiki's more, I use for gentle relaxation or nervous
Yeah.
system healing. This works on a much deeper level, but it is, again, not done on the physical body. So you may not feel any physical effects, but you may experience deeper transformation, shifting of perceptions, um, or things that come up to the surface to be released. But if they came to me and they were apprehensive, I would want people to know, one, I only work in the highest integrity, and I set protection for my not only myself but them as well. Um, I do ask their spirit team or soul team to help facilitate as well. So they have um, their spirit team there um, to rally for them, but also my team is there to help me navigate and see what needs to be done. Because I also um, if a client has something that they want to work on, I do also let them lead me because
Good.
sometimes we're not aware of what we need to shift. Sometimes it's our blind spot. So, for example, if it's something, let's say they're trying to shift a repeating pattern or even just the ability to call in more abundance.
Hmm.
Sometimes the inner child will come forward because we learned a pattern in childhood that's keeping us stuck current day. So, of course, I would let them know, I'm only calling in um, beings um, of the highest good. I'm not working with anybody who's of lower level, but um, I walk them through the process. So when I do my healings, I'm live on screen with them. I'm
That's
talking
good.
throughout the process so that they're included.
Yeah.
I want to know what you're feeling emotionally, energetically, physically even. Let's say you feel some warmth in an area. If the inner child steps forward and gives me a piece of information, I'm going to say, would it make sense that you experienced this in childhood? And I do so in a gentle way. I'm not going to go digging for your traumas and nothing. Um, I'll say, because I'm not a therapist or a doctor, but we're going to just shine a light on maybe something we weren't aware of before we um, came to the healing.
I want to say that you're better than a lot of therapists and doctors, and a lot of us are who do this work because of the fact that, let me rephrase. Our work is more effective and better, in my opinion, in treating and healing the human as a whole than most therapists and doctors are trained to do,
Yeah.
especially in America.
Yeah, and I do tell people, this type of work can work simultaneously with other means of healing,
Absolutely.
whether you seek like Western medicine or a holistic form of medical care. This can be used in conjunction. It's not separate because, as you said, we're treating the whole human, not just parts.
Yes, and Western medicine always does have its place. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not just completely useless. There's
Right.
so many amazing things that Western medicine has
Yes.
achieved and come into and created. It's just there's got to be a lot of
Right.
shifts for it
Yeah.
to be at the level where it treats the mind, body, and spirit of the
Yes.
person. And that's a really massive shift that needs to take place there, which it has been for, it's been little by little, but they just, whoever's been in charge has got to just let go at some point. I mean, I don't know what a bunch of sick humans are going to do for them if they just keep going in the direction that they were. It's like, what are they
Yeah.
even really gaining? It's like, okay, you got old, you had a lot of money, and then you died and you kept people sick. What are you achieving
Yeah.
from that? I mean, realistically, there's just got to be an overhaul. And I know that's what's happening now, and I'm grateful finally it's happening, but
Yeah.
we've got to, as a humanity as a whole, really shift on a massive scale the
Hmm.
perception of we're not trying to completely omit or make obsolete Western medicine or any of these
Right.
things,
Yes.
but we need to have the spirit and the emotional body of the person involved in the process of healing
Yes.
because it's imperative.
And it's all connected.
It is all connected, and it's been a long-standing thing for a lot of us who've been doing this work for a long, long time, who've been
Yes.
trying to get this message across. But I mean, now more than ever, it's it's got to be part of the shift that's happening.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
thank you for explaining all of that.
Yeah.
I feel like that was really helpful for people who are interested in receiving healing through your modalities. I'm interested in have you seen the temples of light or like the healing chambers? Have you seen
Yeah.
those?
So they have shown me their healing chambers, and at first they weren't giving me a like a physical image of them, but I knew what they were, and then they started giving me little glimpses. I like to call it think of it like what a car wash does for your car. You put your car through the car wash and it comes back like cleaned. This they use a lot of light, frequency, a lot of chromotherapy, so different colors of light for different means of healing. They show me a lot of their, I would assume is their like crystal towers. They show me they use crystals as their technology. So like
Yeah.
we use crystals, but I don't feel like we use crystals to their fullest potential sometimes. When you tell people you can program a crystal, they're like, what does that mean? So they've showed me their healing chambers, and what they essentially do is they show me the subtle bodies. So you can use the colors, the light, the frequency to, um, I I like to say, like reset the energy. Um, and based on the frequencies they're using, it can go towards healing like physical ailments in the body, as well as like connecting you more to your consciousness. So this can help people who, let's say they are having spiritual awakenings and they know maybe their psychic gifts are coming online. This can also help you reconnect with that and reconnect with your higher self as well.
And a lot of people feel like they already have a connection to their
Hmm.
higher self
Hmm.
because they have their intuition and they trust
Yes.
their intuition. But it's really, I strongly recommend people do sessions, whether it's with someone who's experienced
Yeah.
or within your own
Hmm.
meditation, finding things that can help you to reconnect to your higher self in a
Yes.
more stronger way because it is a journey and it is a process to get to that point where you are able to have your higher self be embodied in your body fully.
Yes.
It took me a long time to fully embody, and it took me a lot of conscious effort to come in because what, in my experience, and I'm not going to say this is for everybody because everybody's journey is different, but in my experience, I found, and I hope that this can help people, when I began to fully embody my higher self consciously,
Mm,
where I was making that decision, I'm going to bring my higher self into my body and ground it
yeah.
in and like be fully present here.
Hmm.
I found that there were a lot of different layers and levels of things that I needed to work through, to dissolve. There was blocks, there was
Yeah.
resistances, there were belief systems, indoctrinated things from religion. There was a lot of different things that I had to shift for a very long time, including
Yeah.
like Christianity.
Mm,
In Christianity, you're taught, indoctrinated every day to look outside of yourself and
yeah.
to God for the answers. So when you're bringing your higher self in and you're being told like, I'm a part of God and I am God and I am the
Yeah.
universe, and what does that mean? Well, who do I pray to, and well, who am I asking for stuff from? It's like all these things, right? That your brain subconsciously
Yeah.
is doing this process to
Right.
where you're like, okay, like we still, I pray to God and I'm doing this outside of myself. Well, that's because we understand that our soul, our higher self is is a part of the infinite.
Yeah.
So, yes, I can understand that I'm a part of the creator and the creation, but when I'm talking with my consciousness to what we call God or creation or creator or source, I'm we're talking to all of creation. So it's like this duality of understanding and respecting and accepting things like I am a part of God, I am a part of creation, I am a part of the universe, I am the universe, I am God, I
Hmm.
am creator. Wait, what does that mean? Well, who am I praying to? It's this constant thing that
Yeah.
we cycle back through over and over again. So it's a process, and so what I would say is when you're going through that,
Mm.
be gentle with yourself and have grace.
That's important. Yes.
Some
That's
people are going to
important.
get it. They're just going to, oh, I got it. It's there.
Yeah.
It's all there for me. I already understand. But then other people might have really a journey and
Yeah.
unwiring, wiring new things,
Yes.
unlearning, learning new things.
You have to undo to move forward. So it's like, you take some steps back, and then you can go forward, and then you take some steps back. And that's why they say, healing is not linear, and it kind of is a lifelong journey. Now, you don't want to drive yourself mad looking for things to constantly heal, but if something's keeping you stuck, and you need some assistance, um, that's where I come in. So, and I always tell people, you know what's best for you, and if you're being led to something, like trust that feeling, but you don't have to go driving yourself crazy looking, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Digging.
oh man, I could say absolutely yes to that, but then I could also say I totally, definitely, like when I was younger, because I've been on
Mm,
this journey, I mean, for, you know,
yeah.
turning 40 this year, which, I spent so many years in survival mode. It's like
Yes.
I feel like the amount of years I was maybe present was like, I mean, I was
Mm,
present, but like in the conscious experience and
yeah.
actually like remembering time, maybe 26,
Hmm.
but then my soul's ancient. So it's like such a
I feel
weird,
that.
yeah, it's such a weird parallel paradigm shifting thing to feel. Anyways, so I would just say that for people to have grace with themselves in the
Yeah.
experience, but also, listen to your soul's guidance, because sometimes you are going to feel like you're just totally diving down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes you need to do that in order to kind of just glean all this information that your soul's like, okay, it's time for you to like understand all this stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
then I will also agree to what you said in the essence of when you feel like you need to kind of just take a break and just kind of let information come in and let it come to you
Yeah.
naturally for a little while. Do listen to that because you don't want to, I mean, I'm not going to tell people what they want to do, but it it's not a pleasant experience to propel yourself into any form of like a spiritual psychosis or like a deep
Yeah. Right.
depression of like, oh shit, all this stuff I thought was like my reality is not
Mm.
at all. And this is really terrible. Like, this is very scary stuff. And then it can really make people feel extremely depressed.
Right.
Then they can start self medicating, drinking more
Yeah.
alcohol, smoking more marijuana, whatever it is. And that also isn't a good balance of things in a healthier way of digesting things either. So just kind of take everything one piece at a time and listen to your internal
Right.
intuition on what you need to learn, what you need to look into, when you need to give yourself some grace and just let yourself sink it in for a little while and then go back into it and look up more things or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also want, there's something that's been coming to me. Just like with all beings,
Mm.
well, I'm not going to say all beings because that's not true. Because some beings are just only purely of light.
Yeah.
But just like with many beings, some are built or designed to not be operating of the highest good of
Mm-hmm.
humanity or others in general because they're just not made that way. There's a duality of
Right.
existence. So
Yeah.
I used to have a lot of fear, and I went through many, many years of spiritual battles, energetic battles,
Mm-hmm.
psychic battles, telepathic battles, consciousness battles, fighting, removing, clearing, all the things.
Yeah.
For so long, I was utterly exhausted. Probably could have lost my life if I
Mm.
would have continued doing it. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I learned what I have to be able to come to peace with things and understand things on a more multi-layered and multidimensional level. But it took me a lot of exhausting energetic work every single day of my life without any
Yeah.
breaks to get there. But I will say, I'm curious also on your higher self and your connection with the Arcturians on something. So I'm going to share something and then I'm going to ask what you feel and what you get.
Okay.
So obviously we shift timelines all the time, right? For those of
Mm.
us who understand it. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
obvious to every single person, but for those of us who understand that. So it was in different timelines that I experienced what I'm about to share.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have to have a bit of a disconnect in there so that I don't accidentally connect to things that happen that aren't even a part of my current reality.
Yeah.
But in about 2016 or so, I think it was 2016. It was like just before 2017, I believe. But actually, yeah, it was 2016 because my daughter I think she had just turned 1.
Mm.
That's when they started coming to me really heavy, but it started during a time that I started talking to someone from Australia because I was going through a lot of really deep stuff and
Mm.
spiritual, what seemed like attacks at the time.
Okay.
and was happening for years previous to that. And I didn't understand. I understood some stuff, didn't understand other things. Already had like Reiki 1 and 2, I think, at that point. Actually, I think I already had Reiki master level as well. Yeah, I already had Reiki master. So I met this guy named Jamie McQuatchain in Australia through a group that I had reached out to help for spiritual protection.
Mm.
And he is who who gave me like the training for the archangelic Reiki and the Tibetan healing and all that. And then connected me deeper with the Arcturians, or just more so a remembrance of my connection. And everything that he had taught me, he was sharing that he had. Let me ask you on time. Are you okay on time?
Yes.
Okay. He had repeated the phrase, I'm not really teaching you anything, I'm just helping you remember what you already know. And this has been a theme throughout my life. And he had started calling in the ships and calling them in to do healing on me, on others. We started doing healing sessions together. We started doing training sessions together. But then it got weird.
Okay.
And I understand things on a higher level now. So I understand that certain things are just belief systems that we accidentally call into our physical reality through fears, etc., right?
Yeah.
So I started realizing my connection to the Akash, that I could read Akashic Records, etc. A lot of things happened like previous to that I like came into with trainings and shamanism and all that.
Yeah.
But then at that point, I started having like ships visiting, but they were light ships.
Okay.
They were taking me and my oldest son and my children to the ships, and then to see like Arcturus. And then there's like a ship that okay, I'm being told not to share that part, I guess. So the part that I'm wondering a couple of different things.
Yeah.
So he had seemed to be infiltrated,
Mm.
and it seemed to happen very quickly,
Okay.
and became really more. He talked a lot about being a gray Jedi, and then he started doing things that were a lot more on the darker side. And I say darker in a new way than I would have said it before, because I
Okay.
have a deep appreciation and understanding and acceptance of the duality of all of our halves, right? All of our sides. And
Likewise.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
There's
it's not with fear at all. I mean, yeah, there was some things that happened that felt scary, but so I was having mostly positive experiences with the Arcturians, but then I also felt like there were others that were coming in that were trying to it was all flooding in, because like my soul is very multidimensional. So I had
yeah.
like so many different beings, and so many, they were like, oh, she's listening. And then everybody was kind of coming in at once. So it wasn't just the
Yeah.
Arcturians.
That makes sense.
He was connected to someone named Gian, Gian. I'm not, I don't know his last name at the moment. I'm seeing it, but I don't know. He's Italian,
Okay.
in Australia as well, I believe. And they were showing me like the light castles, the light chalices, the chambers of healing, all the
Mm.
things. My oldest son was going through a massive psychosis
Okay.
because he was like awakening really rapidly, and he's been trying to like heal and recover from what happened ever since
Yeah.
he just turned 20, and he's literally just now, after going through really deep stuff, starting to balance out.
Okay.
But that was after he almost took his own life
Mm.
repeatedly just recently, even like a week ago. But I feel like I've got him mentally and emotionally and spiritually
Yeah.
where he needs to be right now. So I'm praying that he stays there. But they were taking him like to Arcturus on the
Okay.
ships. I mean, they were taking him like all over the place. He was like remembering who he is
Mm.
and all the things. He would astral project his consciousness to Arcturus often because he said he missed being there and he didn't want
Mm.
to be like where he was. And he would spend hours asking, "Who am I and what am I?" He would talk to me about like what Arcturians do, the ceremonies they have, the things they eat, the liquid mana stuff that they drink, the all the things. And then one day, the guy that was in Australia that I was talking to said he wanted to be in a relationship with me. And I kind of was like not sure about that. And I don't know what happened. And I'm not saying this to make anybody afraid, but I had this like, I know it wasn't a dream, but it was
Mm.
while I was sleeping, where I was taken in a ship by him and other very big beings. And it was like he locked everybody away from me and my ex husband, everybody, like my kids, everybody, and then did very heinous things to
Mm.
me. I don't know how or what exactly, but when I woke up, I had blood dripping down my leg when I stood up.
Mm.
And it made me very afraid of that and other experiences that happened during that time that I'm not even going to touch on because they're just not
Yeah.
even, they're in totally different timelines. Where I was like, what the fuck is happening and why? And
Mm.
there was also other things with like my ex-husband and spiritually and ET stuff and just all the things that were happening. It was very confusing. It was very like
Yeah.
whirlwind of stuff that I was trying to put together and understand. So I kind of, after that happened, shut off from talking to the Arcturians and connecting with them because I
Yeah.
felt so confused on like who facilitated that to happen and
Right.
why did that happen to me and like what was the purpose and why would that even like occur, like what. And again, I've I've you know, evolved light
Yeah.
years since then. But I don't know, I may not even put this in there, but but I probably will just because I'm feeling like I should, even though it's uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
But I really want to know what you get on that.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry that happened to you. It sounds like a really traumatic thing to go through. Um, my initial impression, though, was the man from Australia, his outside influence in the situation. Um, so I'm feeling into that, but I will just say, um, I've never had an experience like this. So, for me, I've always made it very clear that I won't work with any outside, beings or influences if I don't feel safe with them. And I've always said I don't want to experience this in the physical realm. I don't want to see anybody physically with my eyes. If you, uh, the ones I choose to work with, I set very rigid boundaries with. When I'm working with any outside experiences. And a lot of it for me is, I guess in the beginning it was due to fear of the
Mhm.
unknown.
Yeah,
Um,
it's normal.
and it took me a very long time to even accept working with ETs and galactics. But because they were working with me from a distance and I never experienced them physically, I felt safe. And I always made sure to put protection in place when I'm gathering information from them or working with them in healing sessions. And like again, I've never had experiences like yours, so I can't speak on it. But I do know that not everything is of the light.
Yeah.
And sometimes, um, I'll say sometimes when we experience the darker side of things, for me, like entity attachments and things like that, it's like you don't really understand it until you experience it. Um, when I feel into your experience, though, I'm almost wondering, and I'll ask it in question form just to um understand it a little more, but the man in Australia, I have to wonder what his intentions were and what darker things he was working with that could have been sent to quote unquote attack you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the Arcturians that, I mean, hold on. No, yeah, it definitely wasn't the Arcturians that facilitated anything like that or anything. It was just the fact that he was the one that awakened my connection
Mm,
to consciously
okay.
communicate with them and start really deepening. But see, like, here's the thing. So, like, there was so much stuff happening at the time. Like,
Yeah.
my oldest son was like absolutely just, I don't even want to talk about it, but it was really, really hard. And so,
Yeah.
so, it was there were so many circumstances that were happening
Yeah.
simultaneously with that, with my ex-husband, with other beings coming in.
Yeah.
I just kind of like hit a point where I was just like, I couldn't
Mm,
do it. Like I was like, I don't want any of that
yeah.
because what
Right.
is this and why did that happen? But then like I said, there was other scary stuff that happened too. And again,
Mm,
perhaps it is some sort of manifestation of fears that were happening either on a soul level or a subconscious level or a conscious level. Maybe it was just stuff I was indoctrinated with. Maybe it was shit I saw in movies. Maybe it was things people said that they experienced that maybe I watched that made me scared and then I accidentally manifested something into my reality. Who knows for sure, but I mean, us here, they know.
yeah.
But 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 the thing is I have since developed an understanding and connection, which I'm deepening more of my
Mm,
connection with my ET family and knowing
yeah.
that that's from all over, and just connecting with and trusting in my guidance. But I do want to develop a more healthier, like direct communication in a new way because this is a
Yeah.
new time and I have a new level of conscious understanding at this point in my life.
I always, I always tell people, if you're feeling drawn to a specific, like light being or galactic, if you're wanting to connect with somebody specific and you feel that pull toward them, one, just make sure you're protecting yourself. But I always tell people, um, and th this is how it happened for me, but They sort of test if you're ready, and as long as you're willing and open and you invite them in, again, this was my experience, they are willing to communicate with you. And I always tell people, if you're not comfortable with it, don't push yourself, don't force it. Revisit later if you have to, because that's going to create a fear, a layer of fear in between the communication. Um,
All the
but
beings that I communicate with know that I specifically am ready. They already know if they showed
Mhm.
up physically here, I'd be perfectly fine with it. I'm just at that point
Yeah.
where I'm so far beyond all this other stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
But that is really important for people who are just really deepening their connection with ETs is
Yeah.
learn energetic protection and
Yeah.
boundaries, understand that what that means for you is what that means for you. But
Mhm.
if I were to speak on that, which, I have many, many years and lifetimes of experiences, call in what is only for your highest good.
Yes.
Specifically state that out loud. Ask your higher, if you don't know what that means, ask your higher self to call in whatever's for your highest good. And your higher
Yes.
self will lead the way on bringing in whatever is meant for you at that time.
Yes.
Calling in whoever is meant for you to currently connect with in this part of your journey, and then in the next part, etc. Because what you're ready for now
Hmm.
is going to look different than what you're ready for in the future when you've already
Exactly.
assimilated and integrated all these different, new pieces of information and codes and things like that.
Exactly. Yes.
I keep being told to mention something, and this is definitely pushing myself out of my comfort zone, but these things have to be shared in order for other people who are
Mm.
out there who may have similar experiences to feel less alone. So I'm going to go ahead and share a couple things if you have
Yeah.
some time.
Go ahead.
So the first thing I'm going to share is when so sometimes when we go on the ships, we don't remember
Hmm.
more often than not. Where our memories are like not allowed to hold on to the experience when we come back to our bodies after
Yeah.
sleeping, because a lot of people, it disturbs their everyday life, and so
Yep.
it would take away from their focus on like what they're even here to do or what they're supposed to be doing every day, and the normalcy of that. But for me, that's been different.
Mm.
It used to be harder for me. I used to like really cry and say I just wanted to go home. Still feel that in my soul, but doing what I can
Yeah.
to normalize this experience here.
Yeah.
But anyway, so one of the memories that I have is being on a ship. This specific one keeps coming to me, so there's two. So being on a ship, I was in dream time, and it's my hearing problems makes me say things weird sometimes. I was in, okay, this medical quadrant of the
Mm.
ship.
Okay.
The I've seen the rooms, I've seen the tables, the operating type rooms, seen all that stuff. This one was the same kind of metal that you described. It looks really soft.
Mm.
Like even when you touch it, it's like not the same kind of metal as here. I don't know. But this wall, and this makes me a little nervous to share, but I'm still feeling told to share it. So this wall where they showed me was, and whoever the being was that was with me, it was a woman, female. she said, those are all your babies.
Mm.
And they were all like embryos, and there wasn't any like bigger than like
Okay.
about this big,
Mm.
but they were in what looked like glass,
Okay.
but I don't know what it was, but in fluid.
Mm.
And you could pull there was obviously like a cover on it, but you could like pull
Oh.
how do I explain this? You know the little storage container, the plastic
Yeah.
storage containers where you can pull the shelf out?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like that, but like you pull it out and you could see the baby.
Mm.
And I was looking at one and it had blue eyes, but I think they all mostly have blue eyes when they're in utero. And I remember talking to the baby and I was like, hi. And then I was like, I love you. And I like closed the thing. And she was explaining how all of them were going to go to like different planets. Some of them
Oh.
were going to Earth, some of them were going to like different planets. But that I had like been a part of a project that was helping
Mm.
seed humanity, and like hybrids. And so like some of them were like hybrids of different beings that were like my genetic DNA and stuff.
Mm.
So I know that there are other people that probably have like memories of this that are just like really needing to hear that you're not alone. And this is stuff that I held on to for a really long time because I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't want to be like that person that's like, yeah, I got taken up to a ship and I have a bunch of babies that are going
Well,
out to all
thank you
over
for
the.
sharing all of your experiences. I think, the people out there who are also holding on to stuff like this or their experiences and don't have an outlet or a means to share it, they're gonna hear what you're sharing and um, not feel like they're going crazy or they're the only one or questioning their sanity.
Yeah. And so I will say to this that so that I can help to calm the fear that might come up with it, which
Mm,
is as hard as it might be for people to understand consciously, it is important for me to say that on some level of our soul, we do agree to doing this stuff before we come in. So
yeah.
to the people that may be afraid and feeling like, oh, well, I didn't ask to be part of this program, or I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be doing this stuff, and I don't want to
Yeah.
be abducted, or whatever the things that they're feeling like are happening. You're always making a conscious choice in your soul before you come here to be a part
Yeah.
of something. But if there's something that you're not comfortable with and you don't want to be a part of it anymore, then you can ask that you just don't have to be. You can
Mm-hmm.
say you don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to be a
Yeah.
part of it. And that is okay. Just because you make a decision before you come in doesn't mean you have no say so. So if you
Mm.
decide later on that you don't want to be a part of something, you can tell them, you can say out loud, you don't want to be a part of it anymore. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do that anymore. You're
Yeah.
done with it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you are okay with it and you're saying, oh, your soul has made a decision and you want to like honor that decision your soul made, then you can ask for things to be done in a way that feels less traumatic to your psyche, like saying
Yeah.
like, you know, can you at least talk to me about what's going on? Can you
Mm-hmm.
explain to me the process? Can you show me better things in my dreams that I can understand? Can you help me keep my memories of what's happening, you know? So there's always options in the process,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I would strongly recommend working on healing the fear surrounding these things, because there's
Mm.
so much fear mongering when it comes to ET connection and communication. And so it's really, really important for us to dissolve that now and to go with love and trust in the process of our soul having made these decisions long before we came
Mm.
into this lifetime. It's it's something that I worked on for a long time though, and this is
Yeah.
just for people who are learning to have peace with this. Is
Yeah.
it's it is a process, and you will have to heal those fears in layers, because sometimes you can feel like, okay, I do feel at peace with it, and then something else might happen, and you
Yeah.
might feel unsure again. So
Mm-hmm.
working through that fear and uncertainty in layers is important when it comes back around and you're like, okay, am I sure about this? Do I know that this is safe? Just know that your soul's always going to lead you in the right direction. So if your
Yeah.
soul says it's okay, trust in your soul.
And it's okay to change your mind, right? Something a lot
Yes.
as humans, we go through life and you may be okay with something, and then you go through some inner transformation, reflection, and then decide, you know what? I don't feel connected to this anymore, and you can release it. So just because you explored something before doesn't mean you have to like hold on to it.
Right. And it's just so important to know you do have free will.
Mm.
I'm trying to remember the other thing because I mentioned that one, and then while I was talking about it, I'm it's like right there. I don't know what it is. If it comes back to me, I'll share it. But the oh, I do remember. Okay. All right. I will say before I say that, and I do have that in my head, is they also helped. Well, I started speaking light language when I was pregnant with my daughter, but they
Mm.
also helped me to understand that I can speak to all my different ET family and like
Yeah.
all different languages, because when I started speaking to them specifically, I realized like, oh, I speak Arcturian. Oh, okay, I can
Mm.
speak all these different languages. So when I would speak to the Arcturians, it was just like it started to come out fluidly. With them, it
Yeah.
was like very. I'm trying to try to. It's hard to like explain it in English. I'll say something in Arcturian so you can understand like and you'll resonate because you're connected.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to share that last thing and then we can wrap
Okay.
it up.
Yeah.
I'm listening to what it is that they want me to say to you specifically.
Mm.
Ri arana yasha kotirira ese yaraiti kishati rana akara yeti koshoti banana naiki yashi eti etereria kokora marana kia shati aragia koko mara akie shatuko ma akashiti ana yeti akayati. They're showing me like you're you're so much more important to your work in humanity than you're currently even understanding. Like, you're so, you're just now coming into
Yeah.
this. And I can't even tell you like some of your most, I can't really tell you hardly anything about any of it.
I
You're,
feel it. I feel that. I feel like I, for some reason, just know like years down the line that I'm supposed to be introducing something to the collective that's going to be essentially living beyond even I do. Do I know what that is right now? No, but hey, I will.
you're gonna come into it.
Yes, I'll know when I get there.
Yeah, I can't even like because I can see and it's like there I can't
Mm,
sway your path. I can't interject. You coming in to my trajectory is like I'm activating. I'm helping
mm,
my soul and everything I come with is helping activate you
yeah.
on your path, and then you're helping me with the things that you're
Oh,
helping me with.
I love
So
that.
it's definitely like a beautiful exchange, and I'm really
Yeah.
grateful. But I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm like, oh man, I wish I could tell you, but nope, I can't, and I have to honor that process. So
Hmm.
you're keep on your path because my goodness, and also remember what we talked about today in not allowing ourselves to feel afraid.
Right. Yes.
You do have a very high level of protection, and I know the mind of the physical body can go and the heart can go into places where we say, well, this thing happened to that person, and this thing happened to that. That's
Yeah.
not our journey. That's not our journey. And what happened to me, it was on a totally different timeline, and it was for whatever the purpose was.
Yeah.
And it isn't even something I guess my body carried fear from it, but I look at everything as a learning experience. What am I supposed to understand from that? Because if I understand me as a conscious co creator of my reality, what did I unknowingly do to manifest whatever it was into my reality in order for me to
Mm,
experience it that vividly? Because what was going on there? And so then I
right.
was able to spend, obviously I do still need to do some healing on it because yes, it was scary. It was a
Yeah.
traumatic
Of course.
experience.
Yeah.
But when we take full accountability for ourself as a conscious, co-creative being, right?
Yeah.
This is where real self-mastery comes into play, is what did I
Absolutely.
do? What did I do even subconsciously? What was there
Mm,
in the back of my mind? What were the fears? What was the belief systems that allowed something to come into my reality in the first place? And how can I transmute, transcend, dissolve
mm,
those things so that it never has a chance to even
yeah.
remotely become something ever again?
Yeah.
And I've already done so much of the work in UA, but for people who are still learning and still stuck in the fear paradigms and belief systems and stuff, it's a lot of really hard work. It's a lot
It
of really,
is.
really hard
Yeah.
work to get yourself through those belief systems. Belief systems are really, really strong and powerful. So
Yeah.
it
And it
don't,
doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. So
no.
I always encourage people be patient with the process.
You have to be patient in order to get to the other side of creating a new belief system
Yeah.
that is different from the ones that you already had, that whatever they're surrounded by, whether it's fear or whatever. And
Hmm.
then I'm called to share that last piece, and then we can end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this just came up again recently too, so I knew it was for a reason. I didn't know what exactly, but and this is maybe for somebody out there that has had some similar experiences. So one of the dream time memories that I have is and I don't remember what year exactly this happened, but I was on a ship and it was a really big ship,
Mm.
like super, super big. And I remember being in like this quadrant where like behind me was like circular, I think. It feels like it's like circular. And then there's like halls that are like look metal. Some of it is like silver chrome-ish looking, and then
Mm.
other I feel like it's like black but still metal.
Okay.
And then like the hall goes down in front of me, and I
Mm.
mean it's just like doors and doors and doors and
Yeah.
doors and doors of like rooms and bedrooms, offices, spaces for food, whatever, like all the different medical. I mean, there's so many different areas. And I go, I go to the, like, I go forward, I go into this room. There's a being, she's female, she's green.
Mm.
And she, sorry, I wanted to make sure I didn't accidentally click the button. She calls me in. I don't know if she's like an advisor or what she is, but she is like
Okay.
very authoritative.
Mm. Okay.
She's telling me she is going to send me on a mission. So
Mm.
again, like beings, higher dimensional beings. What is the word? I'm not even like in English right now. Reside outside of time. So like we can
Yeah.
be here in this body, but then we can also like have part of our soul being in another being up in a
Exactly.
higher realm.
Right.
So I had this meeting, and she tells me she needs me to go to specifically Earth, and she says I need you to find and bring to light the true origin of humanity on Earth
Mm.
and where they actually started, because humans have a misconception on where it actually started.
Yeah.
And she gives me like my whole mission, right? So I go out, I go out and I go this way and then I go this way, and there's like a window,
Mm.
like a bay window, right? Huge window. And it's dark, but you could see through it. And this is the first time I'm sharing this probably. So I'm like, so I'm going, I'm looking at the window and then I'm looking down. First of all, absolutely incredibly beautiful, like overwhelming in my soul when I remember, like it makes me,
Yeah.
every time I look in space, it's like, you know, when that feeling when you're like, I miss home.
Yeah.
But I look down, and in case you can't tell, I'm tired.
Yes.
I'm tired, okay? Like my
It's
soul,
okay.
my spirit, my every, I'm tired. I've been
Yeah.
doing this for a long time. Hopefully I'll be able to do it for a lot longer.
Hmm.
For my children anyway. I mean, for my children and for my work here, I'm
Yeah.
here to do planetarily, which this is part of it. So I look down, there's a hologram type map thing. I don't
Mm.
know how to explain it in English.
That
I
sounds
touch
very familiar.
I touch it.
Holographic. Yeah.
You'll probably remember it. I touch it. It pops up on on the window.
Mm.
I don't know if it's like physically on the window or in front of the window. So I touch it, pops up this like, it's kind of like a book, like made of light.
Okay.
So I'm like, it says the name of the planet and the star system in its language.
Okay.
So I touch like this, and it flips the page, says the name of the star system in there in that language. So everything is its own language.
Okay.
And I'm flipping through, it's saying each thing, and I'm hearing it. It's saying the name of the star system and the planet. Get to Earth. I'm hearing I'm hearing something as I'm talking. And I keep hearing like Delta 19. I don't know what that means or why I keep hearing it. Anyway, so I get to Earth and it says Gaia something. I'm not remembering the exact word at the moment. And I'm looking like on the whole like planet, and
Yeah.
it's showing me highlighted little pinpoint. So I'm like doing this, and it's like zooming in, and I'm looking, and it says Papua New Guinea.
Hmm.
It says that's where I need to go, and I need to talk to the elders, and I need to do some research while I'm there, and I need to uncover that Papua New Guinea is the
Oh,
origin of the original beings on Earth, and
interesting.
that hasn't been understood yet. Like humans didn't know this part of Earth history.
Hmm.
So now I'm sharing
Interesting.
it. Maybe this is where I share it.
Well, thank you for sharing all of your experiences. I love hearing from other people just because I feel like my experiences are very limited. But I'm curious if you've felt drawn to that location, even like before that experience or after. Like, do you feel a pull to that to visit?
It's always stood out to me, but not in this lifetime. Like
Mm,
I haven't had like a, oh, I gotta go there. I feel like I already
yeah.
been there, and I feel like I already
Mm,
did it. I don't know if it's in the future or what part of the
right.
timeline that it
Yeah.
happened, because again, when we're in the higher dimensional realms, it's outside of our time. No, I do know that at some point I'm gonna have to go to Egypt because I have a lot of, I'm just gonna say, finishing up to do with closing some doors and finishing out some energy work
Mm,
there, to say
that's
the absolute least.
yeah. It's so interesting when I first started, not when I first started, but when it sort of blended from Akashic Records to contact with ETs, I was being shown a lot of Egyptian history and connections and correlations. So um, I always I always revisit every now and again, but I do feel like there is some hidden knowledge even.
Be very careful. It's not going to be the same for you as it was for me, because your history there is different and
Mhm.
probably a lot more lighthearted,
Mhm.
possibly a lot more, but definitely a lot more lighthearted than mine. Don't let it pull you in.
Mhm.
I know for a lot of people, they're like excited when they feel like they might have been a god or a goddess or a deity there. And it's
I don't resonate with that aspect, but I'm more of the let me read about it versus trying to dive into where are my past lives. It's kind of
a
um
lot of people make the mistake of diving in too far, and they get really stuck in trying to
mm,
embody certain gods and goddesses there.
mm,
And without going into too much depth right now on it, it's a really heavy time period,
yeah.
and a lot of stuff happened, and a lot of things we don't need to bring into
Hmm.
this current
Yeah.
reality. We just kind of, in my opinion, and from a lot of very heavy experience, look at it, understand it, assimilate it, and move on.
Yep.
Because a lot happened.
Yeah.
A
Oh
lot
yeah.
happened. And
Yeah,
it's
I don't
still
think it's
affecting.
it's not my realm to go really like deep diving, but I do like to have it like just a general like, hey, what was this thing that popped in my awareness? Let me read about it, get a little bit of an understanding. Exactly what I did with the ET beings that I was being shown in the beginning and um sort of just got a little overall who is who.
Yeah. And that's really, really good. You're doing an amazing job at keeping yourself neutral. I really want to thank you for being so willing and excited to be here. Inside, I want you to know that I'm very happy. Currently, I've just been experiencing so much stuff that's been heavy for me. So
Yeah.
I'm like healing so many things for myself at the same time. But I just really want you to know that I'm really grateful to have you on. I I believe that the things that you've shared today and the things that I've shared will help more than we probably understand.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the absolute best on your journey. I mean, you're already doing amazing things. I only hope to
Thank
see
you.
it grow for you and evolve into all the most beautiful ways that it can. And if you ever need to call on me for support or guidance or helping clarify anything, because I have been doing this for so long, please don't hesitate. We're
Thank you so
supposed to help
much.
each other through this process.
Exactly. I
Supposed to
appreciate
be
that.
together.
Jessica, I really appreciate you having me on your podcast today. It was really nice to sit and talk about my experiences, but I really appreciate that you were vulnerable and shared your experiences as well. I know some of
I didn't
it
want
does
you to feel
sound
alone.
really it sounds like some things were really tough and scary, but I'm really glad you felt comfortable to share that while I was here with you.
I'm a tough person,
I
soul,
can tell,
being.
yes, you are. You are. You're
It's
strong, but I can also sense, you've got such a big heart, but it came from a place of working through all those tough things that you went through.
I'm the biggest lover that I know. I'm the biggest love, I'm the biggest light, and I'm also understanding that in order to have that balance and protection, I can also be the most scariest, fiercest voice
Yeah,
warrior against things that are intentionally harmful. And that is where the balance comes in. Is I
yeah,
used to be so much in my light that I felt like it made me weak. And it doesn't. For some people, it is
right.
absolutely your strength. But for me, my journey has been coming into my balance and through many, many experiences, through many hard things. But you know what? I wouldn't change them because I'm grateful for all of it. And I feel
Exactly.
like that's what this is all about, is honoring and respecting the journey. And it's all an adventure.
Absolutely. And what an adventure it has been.
It's all an adventure. I keep telling my oldest son that recently. I really appreciate you so much, and thank you again for being on. And I do hope to be able to watch you grow and to see all the beautiful things that you do. And please stay in contact.
Of course. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Hopefully get some rest, I hope. Maybe another cup of coffee.
Yeah, definitely a cup of coffee.
Thank you so much, Jessica.
Absolutely. Thank you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week and weekend, and we will talk soon.
We'll talk soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.